Hello, and welcome to Socially Holistic Podcast. Socially Holistic helps coaches and holistic entrepreneurs and women in heart-centered businesses make sense of social media so they can build their own online network and get more clients. As a heart-centered business owner, you do amazing work. Holly's mission in life is to help you help more people. Help us help more women in business with a 5-star review of this podcast. Please leave one today over at iTunes. The more women who find out about this podcast, the more heart-centered businesses will be successful. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the Socially Holistic Podcast, episode 18. This is your host, Holly Wharton, and I'm here with today's special guest, Roxy Ahmed from Femme Entrepreneur. Roxy is a spiritual wealth and entrepreneur coach. Welcome, Roxy.
Hello, Holly, and thank you for inviting me and giving me this opportunity. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you here because so many women in business struggle with money issues, myself included. So I think this is such an important thing to be discussing because clearing money issues can just be so helpful in helping women expand their businesses and really help the people that they're meant to be helping.
No, I agree. And we're all on a kind of progressive journey with money. It doesn't mean that once you've looked into it, it's sorted. It's a continual progression and awareness that you have to keep on top of it. But once you know, once you get to that realization, you quickly start implementing. It's just rinse and repeat what you learn and just empowering your money actions. Once you're aware of what they are.
I really, really like that. And I also like how business seems to bring up, and I have this discussion so many times with women, business just brings up all of our stuff, doesn't it?
Oh wow, it does. It's just the most amazing process of self-discovery, and you're going to either love it or hate it, but it really, on the other side of it, it really is an empowering and transformational journey. And as I heard women before me tell me that if you really want all your crap to come up, then go into business, start a business. It is really a journey, but a really empowering and worthwhile one because you come out of it stronger on the other side.
Yes. And you've grown so much from that experience.
Oh, absolutely. And we still continue growing. Yeah. I mean, there's no room for complacency. So challenges are good. There's always lessons and gifts. Yes. In every negative situation. Oh, yes.
So why don't you start out by telling us a little bit about your background? You have a very interesting background in law and investment banking. So very, very different from what you're doing today.
Wow. Yeah. Law is something that I was kind of forced onto. I mean, I've always been, a creative person at heart, but I think it was always something within me that went for the safe, the tried and tested, and something that was just going to bring me regular income and the safe route. And being a Taurian as well, we like, our finances to be in order. So law was just something that I fell into and loved it. And it was just something I continued down whilst in the background, I was still trying to figure out how I could express my creativity. And one day, I'm going to start my business. But it was a process of discovery as to what I wanted to do. And in the meantime, I had my day job, my career that allowed me to kind of go off and, discover myself. But, along the way, there were a lot of challenges that came up in life. And, I've tried so many different ventures in the past, but my first foray into business on a big scale was back in 2005. And I was really at a point in my life where I was just looking to escape from the daily grind. I was in a relationship at the time, which was very toxic. I was in a corporate day job and career that I had outlived. And then suddenly my older brother passed away from a heart attack at the age of 40. And it just hit me and my family so hard as it was so unexpected. And in my grief-stricken state, I thought, wow, now would be a good time to start a business. Gosh. So I invested all my savings and remortgaged my flat to buy a beauty salon, even though I had no previous experience of having run one. Now, to an outsider looking in, they could see that I was just on a downward spiral, and this venture was doomed from the start. And I kind of knew that I had made a big mistake the next day when I walked into this salon and thought, oh my God, what have I done? I have no experience in this business. And I have just literally handed over all this money to a woman who had seen me coming a mile away. It served me right, though. because I was so desperate to escape from my job and everything else that was going on in my life at the time, even though I was in no fit emotional state to be making any major life-changing decisions at the time. Nevertheless, I made this decision, and also without consulting my family or close friends, as I knew that they would talk me out of it. So I tried to make this salon work over the next 7 months or so because I didn't want to lose face. Here I was, someone who had a law degree, had worked in banking and was expected to have more intelligence. But regardless of all that, I let myself be taken for a ride by a woman who could see my desperation and my sense of naivety of buying a business, which she knew was already a failing business and about to fall under any day soon. Oh, gosh, yeah, lesson learned. However, around the 7-month mark, I had to admit defeat as my money had wiped out in trying to make it work, and I had to walk away. And, it left me emotionally and financially bankrupt. And I also suffered a breakdown as a result of all the events of those last 9 months having caught up with me. I was still grief-stricken. I was in a relationship with a man who was manipulative, controlling, and stripped me of my confidence and self-esteem. And I really had lost myself in all this. And I'm laughing at all this now because I just wouldn't look twice at a man like that today. But back then, I was at my lowest point. Thankfully, I had a supportive family and a few close friends left. And I managed to get a job back in banking that really was my savior. And bit by bit, I got my self-esteem, my confidence, and independence back. And I managed to get my back on track financially too. I obviously split from my then boyfriend, but it took me 3 years to get him out of my system as the anger, guilt, and resentment started to surface of how I could just let someone like that, just take over my life and control my life in such a way that I lost friends and felt a tremendous amount of guilt, as I wasn't there in a way I should have been for my mum, who had, lost her firstborn, because I was so caught up in my emotional and financial trap, which was really my own doing. But Holly, when I look back, that period of my life was really the catalyst that put me on a deep and profound path of self-discovery and personal growth that tremendously impacted me and transformed me. Transformed the way I live my life going forward. I've learned that there is always a gift in every negative situation and challenge that comes up in your life, even if you don't see it at the time. And it was like I was somehow divinely guided, and just circumstances, people and events started happening and coming into my life which just seemed so random, but when I look back I can say in almost a magical way that kept me on this path that was taking me deeper and deeper within and helped me to reinvent myself from the inside out. And it just felt so familiar and safe, and I just felt at home within myself. I just threw myself into a world of self-development and spirituality and started seeking out mentors and resources and surround myself with all things that, empowered me, but all of mind, body and soul, as I was trying to figure out my purpose and position in the world. And as a result, I started attracting amazing circumstances, people, and events that just made me look at life through a different lens that was just, wow, full of love and possibility and potential and joy. And I started making connections with people, and especially with women who were really real kindred spirits for me. And I started being approached on a daily basis by other women who wanted me to help them, who wanted in on what I had in terms of how I was living my life. So I started helping women just naturally and casually about changing their attitude about life and empowering them to think in a different way. And what was amazing was that I was getting feedback from them of how grateful they were for my guidance as they started to feel more purpose and joy in their lives. And I just couldn't understand why people just chose to be miserable. I just wanted everyone around me to be as happy as I was and, really embrace the gift of life. And it was so natural for me now, or back then, and even now, to just talk about, stuff like law of attraction and empower them to change the way they look and think about life and love and work. anyway, whilst this was going on, I was still wanting to work for myself and trying to figure out what I wanted to do and really not make the same mistakes I had with my last business. And I remember my mum telling me back then that the next time I go into business, I should make sure it's up and running before I leave my job. And yeah, and that has, really, that advice has really served well and stuck with me even today. And I was looking into the event planning industry after experiencing success with my sister's wedding back in 2009. And I thought I would be good at it, as that's what I was being told. But, I just didn't like the idea of dealing with vendors, having inventory and running around town, finding suppliers, etc. It just wasn't me. But it still didn't occur to me that female empowerment was what I was passionate about and naturally good at, and that is exactly what I should be doing for a living. I just didn't think people would pay me for it or that I could do that. Oh, anyway, whilst this was going on back in 2011, my mother was diagnosed with cancer, and she passed away within 3 months of being diagnosed. Yeah, it was, as you can imagine, devastating to watch her in her fragile state, all of us feeling helpless, as there was very little me and my family could do, even though we tried. I mean, my mother was my mentor, my guide, my friend, and just a beautiful example of how to hold your own with courage and grace and respect for oneself and others, regardless of whatever life just throws at you. So when she passed away, a big part of me went with her. I felt a deep and profound sadness for my mother, especially more so because most of her life had been about struggle and strife and sacrificing her happiness and dreams and really herself so that her children could live theirs. It's because women of that generation, of that era, they just didn't know any other way. They didn't have anyone to show them that they didn't have to be a martyr in their life. And I eventually realized that this was my mother's legacy. And I knew then that I wanted to create a beautiful, fulfilled and happy life without sacrificing myself and my dreams, and that I wanted to do it with as much grace and serenity and integrity as my mother had. And I wanted this not only for myself, but I felt deeply driven to wanting to empower other women to do it for themselves too. And I guess I had already been doing this without realizing it. Most of all now, I wanted to do it for my mother, as I didn't want her sacrifices to be in vain. So this time around, I wanted to have a business that was going to empower me and other women, where I could use my natural gifts and spirituality and knowledge and education and life experience and share it with others. So my big why for my current business and my passion and purpose is deeply entwined with my mother's legacy. So this time round, I knew it would be different, as the reason for me going into business was not about the money anymore. It was more about being in alignment with my authentic self and my core beliefs and life purpose, even though at the time I still didn't know what I wanted to do. But when I put this powerful intention out to the universe about 18 months ago, oh my God, amazing things started to happen. It really is. I really understood this saying that I used to hear about growing up, that when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. And I kind of fully started understanding what that meant. So I started learning everything about abundance, aligned purpose, and creating success and wealth with integrity. And in the process, I learned a lot about the energy of money and what I had been doing wrong so far. I learned that money was at the heart of every decision we make in our life, be it consciously or subconsciously, in work, about love, about business, about family, about the way we dress or what we eat, etc. And I was being guided to mentors at the very top of their game who knew the secrets of creating a purposeful and abundant life. And I wanted to know how I could do this for myself, as you can tell, so far my many attempts had failed. So over the last 18 months, I invested heavily in the best coaches and mentors so that I could build a structure and get certified on what I wanted to coach women on based on my own spiritual path and journey and self-development. So today, I am a wealth coach and I coach women on mindset, money, and marketing, and I empower women to step into their power by helping them to break through their money blocks and self-limiting beliefs so that they can create success and wealth they deserve doing what they love And that's really in alignment with who they are. And I empower women by using, really exciting, divinely feminine and spiritual tools, but which are, very practical and grounded and simple and fun to implement. And my coaching is very money-centered, as women have a real struggle with their relationship with money in terms of accumulating it, retaining it, and spending it wisely in a way that's empowering for them. But that's not, it doesn't mean that I'm a financial advisor. I mean, I don't tell you how and where to invest your money. I help you with your relationship with money, because I've learned that how you do money is how you do life, and how you do life is how you do money. And there's a direct link to money and how women perceive their self-worth.
Definitely. I think a huge part of that you can see when women are struggling with pricing issues. I see so many different women saying, I don't know what to charge. I feel like I'm charging too much. Other people say I'm charging too little. I just don't know. And it's just all kind of linked to their own feelings of self-worth.
Yeah, because they either believe that they can't do it, or they just don't believe that they deserve the money. And, they start making assumptions, false assumptions of how other people will feel. And it's all about projecting. And in the process, they just start discounting their fees. And in the process, start feeling resentful, because they know that they're giving away their gifts and their talent, and they're not getting paid the value that they deserve. But they just don't know how to ask because they just don't feel that they're going to get paid, their value. But it's all about just their assumptions and their current mindset, and what they're projecting is what they're then getting back, and they're attracting similar types of clients then. And, it gets in the way of their business because it holds them back. And I've learned this, in how I've held myself back in life. And it really is about your belief systems and your money story. And your money story is ingrained with, your childhood, because it goes back to how you were brought up and how your parents taught you about money. But the beauty of it is, when you learn about what your money story is, you can change your money story. It's not about what, your past does not have to equal your future. But not everybody knows that. And, I didn't know that until I started getting into this work, and, until I started getting into my own process of self-discovery, that, oh my God, there is a different way of living and a different way of looking at life. And it's just so liberating when you realize, oh my God, life is full of possibility and potential, and the only person that really is holding yourself back is you. So I always tend to go back to the mindset. And once, you teach, well, women in general, but anybody, but, my clientele is women, that when you teach them how to reprogram the way they think, and once they, start creating their wealth mindset and looking at life, looking at their self-worth in a different way, and that they really are on this, this planet to fulfill their financial destiny, and that we all have one, they start looking at their business in a different way, and they really start becoming unstoppable. And they start looking at money in a different way as well. It's not something that, that is an enemy. Money is an energy. And it's how you, like any other energy, and how you, energy is either negative or positive. And if you're looking at money in a negative way, and that, money is hard to come by, and, money is not spiritually good for, charging money and charging, making fabulous money is just not in spiritual alignment with my gifts. It's so wrong. It's so absolutely wrong. We're here, life is all about living your fullest potential, and the universe is not, it's all about, helping you get there. And it brings up challenges for a reason, because it's all about, your self-growth, and that you're continually evolving. Yeah, sorry.
I'm so sorry. So there's so many things to say. And I feel like mindset is such a huge part of it. You've said that word over and over again, and I see how through your experience and your business journey with your salon business, you were not in the right mindset to be starting a new business of any kind. And so,
absolutely.
Of course, it didn't go well. And now when you've started this current business, we're absolutely in the right mindset. And you were so self-aware, and you had gone on this personal journey, and you were ready to start something new. And that, I think, is why you're so successful because you were in the right mindset yourself.
Oh, I absolutely agree. And I had to learn that for myself to, then be able to teach it to others, because that's where really your success is. It's, it all starts up here in the mind. And you're absolutely right. When I sold that salon, firstly, I had no business experience. There was no such, I didn't even know the concept of coaching then, and that there were people out there that could help you, to get you on the right path. So I just went into it blindly. And you're right, I was not in any fit emotional state. So I was just surrounded by negativity in life and just in my mind. And I was just in a vicious circle, in a bubble. And the more I tried to ask people, how do I get out of it? I was just really stuck. I really, really stuck. But like I said, I'm so glad it happened, because it was just a huge gift. Because when I look back now, and I decided that the next business I go into, I knew that there's a certain style that fits my personality, and I didn't want a brick and mortar business. For me, that didn't rest well. I know, other people are more bricks and mortar business, but me, I didn't want to be stuck in one place. I want to be able to, be able to travel and do everything else. And when I started learning about abundance and life and mindset, I realized that, there is a different way of doing life and doing business to the one that I grew up thinking that there is only one way, and you have to work hard and struggle, and that's how you're going to end up making money. And that's if you're lucky. But it's not about luck, because if that's the way you think, then yes, life is going to be a struggle. Your business is going to be a struggle. And, you're just perpetuating your mindset. You're bringing that into reality. So it's so important and so pivotal that wherever you are in your life, wherever you feel that you're struggling and you just think that this is it, this is my life. No, there is a way around it. It's all about going back and looking at how you're looking at life and just reprogramming the way you do things. And I know it's not easy if you don't know how, like I didn't, I was taught and I learned it. When you don't know how, then it really is about putting an intention out there and saying, no matter what, I want to overcome this and I want to resolve this and I want to live, a fulfilled life and happy life. And I remember when I did that, and I think the universe, in 2011, I think the universe really knew, okay, this girl has suffered enough. I think she's learned her lesson. And now she really is ready, because that was really a deep intention. And it's when things started happening. It's when I started being led to and guided to certain resources and, mentors that, were going to put me on that path. And when I look back, I look at it as completely magical. And even every day now, little things that happen for me, I just feel so blessed. And I think I want to now not keep this to myself. I feel it's my duty now to show other women what I've learned and to show them that there's another way, because it all goes back to my mum. She did everything she could, but she sacrificed her soul, mind, body, soul, and her dreams just to try and live some purposeful life. And her purpose were her children. I just want women to know that you can have it all if you have the right mindset, and life doesn't have to be a struggle. And I am, a living example of that, because my life was very different. 7 years ago, yes. I was exactly where, the type of clientele that I now love to coach and, who really want to up level in their life and business.
So what would you say are your top tips for women who are struggling and they want to make more money in their business? And what are your top tips for helping them get into that mindset to make more money?
Well, firstly, it's about being kind to yourself and not think that there's anything wrong with you, because that's wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just that you just don't know where you're going wrong. And the first thing is all about attitude. It all starts with a positive attitude and, seeking out, surrounding yourself with positivity, with success. And, it's all, one of the first things that I learned to do when I started getting on this path of success and happipiness, I stopped watching the news. I started reading I used to read the Metro on the journey into work, and all the Metro is, it's all about doom and gloom. So this is the mindset I was starting off with on a daily basis. And then you try and wonder why your day is crap. So I don't bother looking at the news or reading, or starting my day off that's going to put me in a negative mindset. I get up, I have my little ritual of, what I do to get me in the right state. And I think that's what you need to do. Start your day off in the right state, whether that's listening to some happy, happy music, dancing around your living room, or just doing something that's going to make you feel good about yourself. And just, if that's affirmations. I mean, I teach certain ways of getting yourself in that right mind state, but there's stuff that that work for me, like EFT is absolutely powerful.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God. I do that really every morning. And it's instantaneous. I mean, I'm not an EFT expert. It's not something that I have, I'm qualified, but I've learned enough about it to know that I don't know how it works, but all I can say, it absolutely does work, because it works on, certain meridian points in your body, and it just shifts energy.
That's absolutely fantastic.
It also, it's absolutely fantastic. So it's about learning tools and strategies that are just going to help you snap out of that negative emotional state, as soon as you get up in the morning, even if it's just getting up in the morning and waking up and just telling yourself today is going to be an amazing day. I mean, I used to just start doing things like that, and it really was something as simple as that. Just get up and say, today I'm going to have an amazing day. Put something up that the first thing you see in the morning, it just puts a smile on your face.
Yeah.
And just something to say that no matter what, today I'm going to have a good day, and just as a starting point, just to get you in a positive mindset, and just, start looking for evidence through the day. Oh my God, how you'll start attracting positivity and happy people into life just by doing something as simple as that.
Yeah, it sounds like there was a huge turning point in your life where you all of a sudden shifted and started attracting so many things, just all the right things that you needed.
It was, and it was just, and it was quite emotional, but I was so wow, because it was the universe telling me that you're on the right path. And the more I was taking all this on board, and I was just so full of gratitude and so full of respect for life, because it's like I had a new kind of, what's the word? Just been re-energized, just been put to sleep and been woken up, and just in a completely different state, and the way I looked at life. And I think when people sometimes see me, they think I'm in La La Land, but I'd rather be living in my little La La Land than, in the everyday world, which is all about fear and keeping you playing small and keeping you down. You switch on the news, you look at the newspapers, and there's nothing ever good being shown or being told. And anything that's good is usually, in small doses. So you have to go out in the world and find your own interpretation of the news and interpretation of life and sources of happiness and good news, because, our governments at the top, for all their, without going down that road, they have their own political motives and agendas for keeping people in a state of fear.
Yes. I remember one time when I used to be a member of Toastmasters, and I did this speech on kind of mental detox and how to clear your life of negativity. And one of the things that I said was, don't read or watch the news. I stopped doing that years ago. Wow. And afterwards, someone came up to me and he said, oh, that was very nice, very inspiring, everything. And he said, but you can't possibly mean don't watch the news. And I said, no, I did mean don't watch the news. Like, I don't watch the news, and I'm perfectly fine. I survived.
Yeah.
But he just couldn't wrap his head around the fact that that was actually a possibility.
It was, and it's also, translating that to how it fits for you. I mean, not watching the news. I still want to know what's going on in the world, but it's like just reading the headlines and that's it. Whereas before that, I used to go deep into it.
Yes.
And then get myself into it. But it's just like still keeping aware of what's going on in the world, because you don't want to be ignorant, but there's boundaries that you put in, and there's past the headlines, there's not really that much more you need to know, unless it's something in an industry that you work in that you need to know about that.
Yeah. Exactly.
But for all of us, it's just, and it's definitely not starting the day off in that state of mind. If you do really need to know what's going on in the world on a much deeper level, then I would say don't watch anything before midday.
Until you're finally in the right mindset to be able to take that on.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you mentioned at one point that you had started to take on a lot of business mentors and learning through resources and things. Do you have any women business mentors that you'd like to mention, or are there any women in business who inspire you?
Oh, yes, Holly, that's a good question. Well, over the years, especially over the last 7 years, when I, was put on this path of self-discovery, I've had many, both male and female, like the Anthony Robbins of this world and the Jim Rohns of this world, and obviously the queen of them all, Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, yes.
But in the last 2 years, those that have helped me get my business off the ground have been the likes of Ali Brown and Marie Forleo, to name but a few. But the one that really changed the way I think about money and my self-worth is Kendall Summerhawk. I don't know if you've heard of her, who has really held a vision for me in a very profound way of what is possible when you step into your power and, follow your life purpose and passion. And that's in alignment with your core spiritual being, and that we can all make fabulous money doing what we love. And it just really changed the way I just wanted to do my business. And all these women, they're all US based. That just, I don't know why that happened, but that just happened the way it was. They're all US based. They came into my life, at the right time and for a reason. But I'm also now, finding the more I'm developing in my journey that I thought I had to go all the way to the US to find these women and, this community of, like-minded and heart-centered femmes. But I'm now learning that they exist here in the UK. And again, it goes back to that, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. And, recently I came across Catherine Watkins, who Holly, Watkin, and it's where I met you. And I thought, oh my God, again, the universe is just guiding me. It stepped in, and I just feel so blessed and emotional because each day, I'm surrounded by just so many inspirational women who are just continually, helping. We're all helping each other grow. And it really is a case of, your success is my success. And we do need women to step up in a big way in the world. It's been so... business and the world seems to be run by, it's such still a male-dominated world. I mean, I know it's really changing. It has started changing over the last probably 5 years since I've become aware of it, because of this spiritual shift. And, there's a lot more inspirational and powerful women coming forward and doing great stuff in the entrepreneurial world. And there's so many, so much inspiration you can draw from. So I'm loving surrounding myself. Now, I'm getting to surround myself with the women in the UK and love that, because this is where I'm, based, although my business is, online. So it means I attract my clients from all around the world. But this is where I live, and, I want accessibility to this community of women where I can just pick up the phone or meet face to face rather than traveling all the way to the US, several times a year to meet these women. So, I hope that answers your question.
Oh, yes, it definitely does. Thank you. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about how you work with women and how you can help them shift their mindset and start making more money in their business?
Oh, wow. Well, there's several ways you can work with me. There's on a one-to-one basis by way of VIP days and 6-month private platinum programs. My VIP days are intensive and are all about kickstarting your money mindset so that you can start integrating what you learn straight away to your life and business and, really start creating powerful shifts that have been blocking your flow of income so far. So we focus on your wealth mindset and, help you make powerful breakthroughs and implement strategies and step-by-step action steps to help you achieve fast results. And then there's my 6-month private coaching program, and this is high end. And again, one-to-one. It's a one-to-one program with ongoing support and mentoring that involves total immersion into using the energy of money, discovering your unique, awesome factor and how to charge what you're worth and get it. So in the 6-month private coaching program, we focus on key areas of the business that build on your brand and niche and your sales and marketing funnel. And really, it's all about being your authentic self and having a business that's in alignment with who you are. So it's about implementing tools and strategies to build momentum and create breakthroughs, shifts in mindset so that you can create and see, real tangible results in your income and business success. And finally, now this is actually looking forward, in 2014, I will also be offering a group program for those who prefer to be part of a community of like-minded women. And whilst they need that extra support, they're not really ready to commit to a longer program. So that's what I'm looking to launch in the new year, in 2014.
Exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting times ahead. It's full throttle. And what I forgot to mention, Holly, is I've been building my business, over the last 12 months or so, whilst still in a day job. And through what I've learned, in the stuff that I'm teaching, it really helped me to empower me to quit my day job. And as of 2 weeks ago, I'm now fully all in and a full-time businesswoman.
Congratulations.
Thank you so very much. So I don't think I could have done that without applying what I've learned. So yeah, I feel so excited because it really now is all in.
Fantastic. Well, why don't you share where people can find you online?
So you can find me on my website is www.femmentrepreneur.com. You can also find me on Facebook under Femme Entrepreneur, and I'm actually on Twitter and LinkedIn.
Excellent. Okay, perfect.
Also.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to include all the links in the show notes, but I just like people to hear while they're listening where they can find you.
Brilliant.
All right.
Well, just before I go, darling, one way that I decided, who was the right mentor for me, I think one way of sampling somebody for free is by, signing up to their newsletter. Yes. And this is how I've done it. And then eventually, got to know how they work. And then eventually, decided, this is somebody I want to work with long term. So all I can say, if what I've said today resonates with you and you want to sample me for free, signing up to my newsletter is the best way to do that.
Yes, I agree. Newsletters and blogs are such a fantastic and free way to share what you do with the world and for other people to connect with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and that's just a tip for not just for, for working with me, but for anybody. And that's how, I, look at how I work with mentors, and the right one will eventually come along. Who you resonate with,
Yes, I think that's so important. So thank you so much for being our guest today. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us before we sign off?
No, Holly, you've just been brilliant in the questions that you've asked. And I think I've covered everything. And like I said, if anybody does want to, look into this further, into this type of work further, then, contact me via my email on my website, or again, subscribe to my newsletter to see what I'm about. But I just thank you, Holly, for, again, giving me this opportunity, inviting me to come onto your podcast and, help me to spread the message.
No, and thank you so much. I think mindset is such an important part of business, and your journey perfectly illustrates that. So it's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing.
No, thank you so very much.
All right. And thank you for listening to our guests. Remember to visit sociallyholistic.com/SHP18 for the show notes on the episode. Thank you again.
Thanks so much for listening to the Socially Holistic Podcast with your host, Holly Wharton. Please help us help more women in business by giving us a 5-star review of this podcast. The more women who find out about this podcast, the more successful businesses there will be. So please leave a 5-star review today over at iTunes. Thank you.